E3 2017, it is upon us.
The E3 apocalypse has happened.
It only took me 14 pages of plagiarism to get us ready for this fucking podcast. So basically what we are going to be doing is we are continuing our trend for the way we usually do E3 and Comic-Con. We're going to be separating this into a couple of VODs. Today, this one's focusing on EA, the Xbox conference, and then finally the Bethesda one. So let's just not say on a ceremony because we got a lot of shit to get through. So
yeah, fuck's lightning round. This is gonna be a lightning round.
The way I've gone about this is I have taken some liberty as to what we talk about. I tried to focus on things that is actually up our alley or notable to talk about. I did axe some things, but everything that I thought was basically any way, shape, or form notable, I included. So let's go and get started. We're going to be doing all of them chronologically as far as conference. So we're starting out with EA. The biggest thing they brought to the conference, to their conference, was Battlefront. Basically, the only one of these conferences I actually watched from start to finish was the Sony one. But from what I hear, basically the hour-long EA conference, 30 minutes of it was Battlefront. They just plopped out like a fuck ton of Battlefront. It was like 25% 25 minutes Battlefront, 25 minutes sports ball, and then like 10 minutes everything else. That was kind of how the rundown shaked up. But did you get to watch both the gameplay trailer and the footage? Any of the footage?
Yeah, I watched them both.
Okay. What did you think of the kind of like the reveal trailer? That was the one where they kind of spent half the time showing you mechanics, half the time actually showing you a little bit of like the cinematics of the story, because they are implementing the story mode much to the joy of all of the people who bitched about the first game not having one, as if they actually would have fucking played it had it existed.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand is no one bought Battlefront for a story mode to begin with. No one will be buying this one for a story mode to begin with.
Now, I'm excited. I will play the single-player campaign since it's in there, and their angle is pretty interesting.
Yes, the angle is very interesting.
But the same people who are complaining, just like we've talked about before, are part of the, what would you say the percentage of Call of Duty players that actually play the campaign, like 8%?
I was going to say 10 at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. I generally play those just far enough to get unlock zombies mode, and then I'm into zombies. So, but yeah, I know gorgeous gameplay and cinematics. The cinematics are movie quality.
We alluded to the angle of the single player campaign is it takes place right after Return of the Jedi, and you're actually following Empire soldiers who are actually trying to get like vengeance for the Empire being taken out, and that's fucking cool. Like, they so easily could have patched on a 6-hour campaign of, same old, we're the fucking rebels, and they could have gotten away with it, but they actually went a cool direction with it to me.
Yeah, if they were gonna do it, they went about it a really cool way. That's an angle you never hear about. 7 movies, you never hear about that side.
Right. Some of the tidbits, let's see. This is so Battlefront focused on kind of it was just the original trilogy, and they had like the DLC for Force Awakens. They didn't do anything with the prequels. They didn't do anything really with like Rogue One or anything like that. This is spanning all Star Wars eras, which is why most of the footage was heavily focused on settings and characters from the prequels.
Yes.
This is a great tidbit with it. All post-release multiplayer add-ons will be free. That was one of my big complaints about it, because like you and I were just talking about a couple days ago going and playing Battlefront. Well, you and I are going up against so many people that have the DLC that have like twice as many weapons as we have. And it is, to a degree, playing like a different video game. I still love Battlefront, that base package that I have on it, but I wasn't going to give them like what was it like $50 or $40 for their season pass. It was fucking
ridiculous.
Nuts.
It's a whole other game, that price.
Since they didn't have a single player campaign, they would have been nice of them to, include the season pass as part of that $60 money you drop for it,
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
It's supposed to, EA says the game will have more vehicles, more customization, more abilities, more classes, and more options in general. They've also said they fine-tuned the gunplay so that everything feels better than it did in the first game. Let's talk about the actual raw gameplay footage that's been surfacing. What did you think of the one that's been most seen? It might be the only one that's actually gone out there. I don't know. There's so much YouTube stuff nowadays because like what they do, like they'll have just an all day long E3 stream now every day basically, where it's almost like Comic-Con more often. Like
Right.
you'll have shit that actually isn't sanctioned in the conferences. It's just going on throughout the day. That shit'll go online. But most of what we saw was taking place on Naboo. It was the planet from episode 1. I actually really liked how one of like the soldier factions was battle droids. That seemed pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I really liked that angle. That was really interesting to me. And I was just thinking, God, to be a clone trooper would be fucking terrible because they almost blended in with the environment.
And it's really cool, too, that since they're doing the prequel era, the clone troopers are the good guys at that point.
Yes.
So it was a clever little...
So yeah, it was, and then they had Rey and Darth Maul.
Okay. Every time fucking Darth Maul does anything, I'm just like, all my $60, I'm gonna exchange for ones, just so I can all over the target counter.
Just standing in GameStop with ones. Sir, please stop doing that, sir. Sir, please, sir.
His moveset is fucking sick.
I feel like Darth Maul breaks the game. To be honest.
In all the best ways possible.
In all the best ways possible. They didn't show much of Rey. They didn't even really show her face. It was all like behind shots, and you didn't see any of her force powers.
One cool thing, I actually do think with her and with Finn, I want to say that I've read or heard that it actually is Daisy Ridley and John Boyega doing the voices, which is a pretty cool little tie-in for him to be able to do. Yeah, you and I were two of the people that were actually happy with Battlefront 1. So now that they have gone out of their way to fix all the complaints that the naysayers had, I think Battlefront 2 could be pretty fucking great. Like, to get their full set of DLC included with the $60 in addition to what you know will be a good multiplayer, because the first game's multiplayer was fantastic.
Yeah.
And a cool angle for the single player mode. I think it is in a world where I disagree with most of the time spending $60 on a video game, I think you get your money's worth for Battlefront 2.
I mean, if it's including all the DLC and they come out with all the shit they came out with in the first one, I mean, it's going to be well worth it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for more vehicles as much as I sucked at the vehicles. I'm curious about what classes. What do they mean by classes? I don't remember any classes in the first one.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe they're going to switch it up to where they have a little bit more presets, kind of like Call of Duty, more so than because like Battlefront 1 was a little bit more like arcadey.
Yeah.
You know, they had like, it was very light customization. Like you had like cards and power-ups and stuff, and you would pick up power-ups throughout the level more so. Like it was actually a little bit more like Quake than it was.
I was going to say Doom, but yeah.
So it'll be curious to see if they kind of do like a blend between the kind of arcade shooter and kind of like the Battlefield class-based shooter thing. All right, next up, this game we are so at least renting because I want to let's play this just because I think it'll be fucking hilarious. The game is
interesting.
The game is called A Way Out, and I encourage people to check out the trailer for it because its whole thing is it's a cinematic prison break game where you control one of two unlikely partners thrown together in the common cause of breaking out. It's entirely co-op. You cannot play it solo. You have to either be playing it cooperatively online or couch co-op.
And the interesting thing is because of the way the story everything works and your story is working with the other person, I heard them say in the trailer that it's also entirely split screen.
Yeah, it's entirely split screen, and the one little thing that I noticed, which was really cool to me, is at one point they show one character and player can be in cutscene while the other player is free roaming and still playing. Like, that's fucking cool.
That's really cool. It seems it's a really risky type of game, and from what we've seen so far, it seems like they did a really good job with what it is.
This could easily have gone to shit like
someone had some. Could you imagine this game on paper, walking in trying to get funding and support for it?
Yeah, it's hard enough to design right and get a normal game greenlit. But like another thing, you and I always bitch about the gaming industry not trying new stuff. God bless these guys for trying something fucking new, because this is one of the most unique things out of all the conferences.
One of the things that surprises me the most is the fact that it was EA out of everything. I mean, EA, really?
Yeah. Someone at EA actually earned their fucking paycheck for once. But yeah, I cannot wait to at least rent this, because Ron and I devolving into just cussing each other out for fucking up the Prison Break in different instances, I think it will be fucking astounding, and I cannot.
It's gonna be more you yelling at me and just me like crying, like, oh, I'm sorry, Geoff.
They surrounded me in the shower, Geoff. Help me.
You're gonna
really
stuff
quickly,
me in the laundry chute just to do it.
Yep. Really quickly, I did.
Okay, Ron, I need that guy's eye.
I did want to give props to Kirk Hamilton at Kotaku. He has been doing kind of like Kotaku's roundups for each of the conferences, and
is that who we plagiarized?
Huh?
Is that who we plagiarized?
That's who we plagiarized. So I'm since I sourced it, we are no longer plagiarizing. We are borrowing. So yeah, thank you, Mr. Hamilton, for all of your info, because
for all your hard work, because it made our lives easier. Yeah,
it's a pain in the ass even just plagiarizing this shit, because there's so much stuff at E3 now. It's fucking ridiculous. I think there might actually be. I don't even know what I said now. What did I say that cracked you up so much?
It's such a pain in the ass to even plagiarize this. It's so
really
much work to even steal other people's work.
When you think about it, since Disney took half of Hollywood out of Comic-Con, I think more stuff actually happens at E3 now than Comic-Con.
Probably.
All right, next up. Need for Speed Payback is basically Fast and Furious, the video game. What did you think of that, Ron?
It was interesting. I haven't really been interested in a lot of the Need for Speed since the old days of them, but like Most Wanted and Undercover. But it was definitely interesting. I just want to go back to my street racing, though. It was gorgeous looking.
Like, the thing with racing games, they're not really for me anymore. The only one I ever really got into, and it might have just been more to do with how limited my game library was back then, but like, was it Gran Turismo 3 that was on PS2?
Yes.
That's the one that
3
I played.
And 4, I believe.
Whatever was the earlier one, I played the shit out of it, and then ever since then, it was kind of like...
3 was the best one, in my opinion. I bought an entirely separate memory card just for Gran Turismo 3, and I had several different configurations for each of my cars, and you could back up those configurations to a memory card. So for different races, I would load the configuration for it.
The two type of games that, for whatever reason, did not translate from my childhood gaming experience to being an adult.
I just choked on water.
Sorry. Good job.
More water will help, surely.
Oh, yeah. Fight fire with fire. Fight water with water.
Right.
But yeah, this actually looked pretty entertaining to me. It's not one that I would probably ever like. This is like the type of thing, if I was at like a party and the people there were playing, I would totally play this, because I like how it's a little bit more arcade-ish with like the more Burnout style than it is. Because like the one that always is really boring to me is Forza.
Yeah.
Just because it's gorgeous, but it just feels, I don't know, it feels almost like retro in the fact that there's so much you can do with video games now that just a straight up racing game feels like it's, I don't know, like I like this one because it's so like crazy ass, like the later Fast and the Furious movies. It's not just trying to be a simulator, I guess. It's actually trying to be a game, which a lot of the racing games are now all about. It's exactly what happened with Madden for me. Madden got to the point to where it was so realistic, it was no longer fun. That's almost like the way I kind of see it.
Now, I give Gran Turismo a pass because they call themselves a driving simulator.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they are. Forza I've never really gotten into because it's kind of boring. Being a car guy, Gran Turismo I love because you can customize down to the last detail everything.
What I also like about Gran Turismo as well is they don't have a game come out but every like 5 years. Like
That's been pissing me off lately.
But I actually like,
because how far are we into PS4 and we still don't have the new one?
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time they're a little bit more like Rockstar in that when you know when it comes out it's going to be fucking good. They could easily pour out Gran Turismo on a yearly basis and get away with it, but they don't. They wait.
Gran Turismo's worst game is still playable.
Yeah, they make a really, really quality game. So any interest in...
So back to Need for Speed.
We talked about every fucking other franchise for racing but this one. So any interest in Payback?
I mean, if they have a demo, I'll check it out first. But I've been burned by so many Need for Speeds lately, like the Most Wanted remake and Hot Pursuit. It's just they can go fuck themselves. So,
did you ever watch the movie?
I never did. I wanted to, but I never did.
Yeah, Jesse Pinkman has a Need for Speed.
Every time it would show him, I would hear people audibly laugh in theaters whenever.
Yeah, that makes me sad.
Makes me sad too.
Well, unfortunately, like you said, like you would check it out if there was a demo. Like hardly anything ever gets a fucking demo anymore. It's
since we're Plus members, we might get a time trial or something.
That's true. We'll have to keep an eye out for it. The next
nothing
one
else, it might hit Redbox.
This is true. It's a big enough title. I would imagine it would. Next up is Battlefield 1 is getting night maps and a Russian expansion. They are set to debut this summer. Let's see. They also announced In the Name of the Tsar an expansion. They will add new maps from World War I's Eastern Front. That's the expansion. It looks like it will add 6 new maps featuring the Russian army along with the iconic Women's Battalion of Death.
I think I saw them at the BOK Center once.
I think I saw them on the island of Themyscira a couple of weeks back in the movie theater, to be honest.
Well done, sir.
That expansion hits in September. You know what was funny is when I was prepping for this vodcast, I went back and watched, or we were still a podcast at that point. I went back and listened to our first E3 coverage pod from last year.
I wanted to. We ended up recording tonight. I was going to do it tonight.
What was funny is that almost like every other game you and I were saying, oh, it's a solid rent. It's a solid rent. I wouldn't buy it, but do you know how many games that we said we would rent them that we actually have rented them from last year's E3?
0.
Like 0. So I'm not even going to lie. I'll probably never play Battlefield 1. I don't think it's bad. I think it actually looks really cool, but I don't think I'll ever actually play it.
It makes for some good YouTube videos. There's some crazy shit.
I love the ones where you see the people like jumping off the Zeppelins and magically get back into their plane and shit like that. It's so cool. It's so cool. Battlefield 1. Although I am much more intrigued by Battlefield than I am Call of Duty. Actually, speaking of Wonder Woman, you and I were on record. We really liked the World War One setting.
Yes.
More World War One, less World War II. Fucking Call of Duty.
Yes.
And to wrap up the EA conference, sports ball.
Sunday.
Did you like all of my just dicking around in the notes? That now has a story mode, 'cause reasons, y'all. FIFA. Woo! NBA, son, get hyped. That was basically my review.
Hyped.
That was my review. Yeah. Well, who the fuck is playing story mode in Madden? What the actual fuck is that?
Madden 18? Who the fuck is still playing Madden?
Oh, the sad thing is a metric fuck ton of people are still idiotically walking into fucking Walmart, Target, and Best Buy and GameStop every year to hand them $60 for a fucking... It's like a 2% graphical upgrade and a roster update. It blows my
I don't get it.
mind.
I mean, a lot of the games I play, I'm sure a lot of people don't understand. But I don't understand the sports game. Just go play the sport. What's the point in the sports game? I don't know.
Yeah, it's frustrating. All right. Speaking of frustrating, let's talk about the beginning of the Xbox conference, Ron.
The Triple X console.
The Xbox One X. First of all, even all of my friends that are X-Pros agree that title is fucking horrible. I almost want to hold on a second. I need to look up Reese's actual direct comment because I actually found it pretty fucking on point.
Why is it that the project names are always so much more inventive than the actual console names?
Yeah, Neo, Scorpio, both way fucking better.
Remember the Wii was Revolution? I would have taken the Nintendo Revolution over the fucking Wii.
Okay, here is Reese's comment.
Okay. Good old Reese. I've never met the man, but I love him.
The new worst name Xbox. Of course, aside from the fact the marketing department clearly had a meeting that went down like, you know what's popular with younger folks nowadays? Nostalgia of the 90s. You know, back when extreme sports were the thing. So you started marketing everything as extreme and threw X's into every product name to make it seem intense so as to appeal to this edgy generation. So fuck it. Let's do that.
Xbox Extreme.
Xbox Extreme. Here was my thing. Why couldn't they call the Xbox DOS? Because then it's a double entendre, and I think it'd be kind of fun. But
the
no.
Xbox 2.
They don't know what a fucking double entendre is.
The Xbox 1.5.
These consoles have been out for almost 4 years. I'm still not over how dumb the Xbox One title is. But yeah, Ron, you are the resident tech expert. So why don't you give us kind of like your views on the tech comparison between the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, which was their... Okay, really quickly before you do that, though, if I were to tell you, if you lived under a rock and you weren't aware that PlayStation had almost doubled the selling totals of the Xbox, which one of these screams they're trying to be competitive? It's the one that's $100 fucking cheaper. That's already been out for a month,
one of them's $100 cheaper, and it's not the XXX.
Yeah, that's very fucking odd to me. But go ahead.
Okay, so keep in mind the $100 difference. The PS4 is $100 less and available now.
Beat them to shelves more than a year in advance as well.
So they both have 8-core. I believe x86 processors. It doesn't say on the PS4 Pro. Usually, if it doesn't specify, it's x86. 2.3 gigahertz versus 2.1. Yay. Graphics, there's not a whole lot of difference in graphics. 6 teraflops versus 4.2. RAM, 12 gig versus 8 gig. They both have the same storage. Xbox is slightly heavier because it bones you slightly more. Optical drive. We know the PS4 is 4K. It's 4K.
Wait a second. Now on the CNET thing,
it doesn't have it listed, but that was the big thing with the PS4 Pro.
I think the PS4 Pro can run it natively, but I don't actually think it can play. I think that was actually one of the sticking points people had when the PS4 was released, that I don't think it actually can play like a 4K disc.
Originally, when they were coming out with the PS4 Pro, it was going to be able to play 4K discs, but they weren't going to do anything with games. And next thing you know, they listed a whole slew of 4K games coming out.
Okay.
So that was one thing that really pissed me off. But
both of the existence, I've gone on for so long on previous podcasts about I hate the existence of both of these things.
It's like the iPhone 6 and 6S. Like, just if you're going to come out with the new, more powerful console or an upgrade, make it your next console. Make it something big. It doesn't need to be a slight annual upgrade or a semi-annual upgrade. Biannual upgrade.
Okay, here's my thing with it as well. These things, like when they start out their conference and they're pimping out their new console and all they go to is the specs, they are appealing to the techie crowd who are obsessed with their hardware. The gamers who are obsessed with what's under the hood of their gaming machine, newsflash, they're the PC players. Yes. They're not your neck of the woods anyway.
And the thing that gets me is, okay, honestly, they're going to be running pretty much the same equipment, which if you look at these specs, they are. And the reason for that is the little consortium that everybody got together and said, hey, if you want our games, then you need these specs because we're tired of customizing everything to all three of y'all asses. So here's what we're going to be running. And what do you know? It makes the consoles run basically the same hardware. Basically, it comes down to UI. It used to come down to your exclusives, but neither one of them really have that many exclusives anymore. But I mean, honestly, another thing that's kind of sad about the Xbox One X is if you look at the stats, everything is just so slightly, marginally better. It's like they went out and just got everything they could to stay around that price point, to just say they're that much better than PlayStation when PlayStation just points to their price tag.
You know what also weirds me out about the existence of the One X is, like, to me, the only reason you would need either one of these right now is if you were really interested in VR.
Right, which is honestly the point.
That is the point. With PS4 Pro, you can buy the PS4 Pro, and you can also go and buy a PSVR, and you can actually fucking play it. Have I missed something? Or has Xbox One actually fucking even announced a VR original? They haven't announced a partnership with any of the ones that are in existence. So what is the fucking point? They have no exclusive games. If you are not a diehard Halo or Gears of War junkie, you have no reason to get an Xbox One over PS4. So what is this selling you on? Because like I said before, if you're hardcore about the specs, you're going to get a PC when you have a much more wider... If you can get a PC, get it pimped out, and you can have access to all of Xbox's stuff because they've been pushing how they're on both Windows 10 and on Xbox. Right. And you can fucking get PlayStation Now on your computer and get all the fucking PlayStation shit too, or a good portion of it. So why? Why? There is no reason to buy it. The only thing Xbox has in the last 2 or 3 years that has made me even look twice at an Xbox is just within the last couple of weeks. I believe they marked down the Xbox One Slim to $199. If they actually had a slew of original or exclusive games that were appealing to me, or if I was still, moderately into Halo or Gears or something like that, you can kind of see if you had the expendable income to drop the extra $200 just to get the access to the few exclusives they have. There's no fucking reason to buy $500 Xbox One X. There's no fucking reason. Even people who are diehard Xbox fans can't defend this right now. It's
people that were
stupid.
Really into VR and were console gamers bought a PS4 Pro a year ago.
And if they were curious about VR and they were simultaneously into their specs, they are the PC master race who already have a Vive.
Yeah.
The really, really fucking high-profile VR set. So, I don't know. The whole thing has just been mind-boggling to me. It's not just us. It's not just PlayStation 4 fans who are pulling the whole Hatfield and McCoy thing. No, it's just dumb. And it is just in my previous point, the company who is coming out with fucking big exclusive games like Spider-Man and stuff like that, and The Last of Us 2, and who are undercutting the competition's price point, they're the one that's already ahead by a large margin. So at what point the Xbox One has now gone through, by next year, they will have been in existence for 4 years or so. They will have gone through 3 iterations. At what point do they even have a chance at getting back into this race? It's just they're already fucked.
Yeah, no, they lost this race a long time ago. They lost this race a year or two ago when Sony executives were on stage mocking Microsoft and the Xbox.
Can we just stop just to watch that commercial? How do you trade games on a PS4?
Yes, I fucking love it.
Fan-fucking-tastic. Can you give me a time check, by the way? I forgot to start a timer.
29:16. Cool.
Okay. Our review. The Xbox One X blows. Honestly, I think the PS4 Pro is also a waste of fucking money anyway, as well. Just to show that I'm not biased, I think they're both fucking dumb.
I think they're both dumb, but I'm not into VR either. If I was into VR, I might have gotten a PS4.
Yeah, if you're into VR, that's the only time that you can kind of sell it. But I think they both set a really, really bad precedent, and I'm actually really glad that the PS4 Pro did not sell very well. And I'm also glad that people don't really give a shit about the Scorpio or the PS.
I think VR is gonna be a fad anyway, to be honest.
I think, unfortunately, you are right. Now, one thing that Microsoft did announce that was cool. Backward compatibility will now include original Xbox games to the point to where you will actually even be able to straight up put your fucking Xbox OG disc in and it'll read a certain catalog of prior Xbox games. That's really cool.
That is really cool.
Their backwards compatibility, I think, has been the only thing that has kept them marginally in the conversation with Sony, because they actually do have a much better backwards compatibility.
Why can't PS4 emulate? I understand hardware is different, but that's the point of an emulator.
You know what I think it is? I think Sony, they when they bought out, it was like Gaikai, which was like their streaming algorithms and stuff that they ended up turning into PlayStation Now. I think they invested too much in the PS Now, where they couldn't really afford to go back and change it up. And they're also so far ahead, they don't really have a reason to.
Right.
So I think if they were closer as far as like sale numbers, I think you actually would see PlayStation going out of their way to compete in the backwards compatibility market. But they don't really have a reason to. So why would they invest extra resources towards it?
And it's just always been kind of boggling to me though, because in the PC world you have emulators and you have virtual machines, and there's no reason. Consoles these days are basically computers. There's no reason.
Oh, yeah, they're just x86 computers. Yeah.
So I don't know. That one's always kind of bugged me.
Yeah, I wish the PlayStation, but it's also one of those things too. It's like a really, really cool functionality. I think it's smart. I think honestly, Microsoft should be selling it more. They shouldn't be focusing so much on their hardware. They should be focusing on pimping out their backwards compatibility, because that's like the one edge they have.
That's the one edge that Microsoft always has. Windows over everything, and when your old Windows software works on your new Windows stuff. So
yeah,
you know.
We'd mentioned Forza. It looks like they did show off Forza.
You already know our opinions on it.
They already showed off Forza Motorsport 7. Now, the thing is, they're not bad games. They're just not for me. I have no problem. People like, if you're a car junkie, they are just fucking gorgeous. Like, I could just sit and look at them for a while because
it was gorgeous, and I appreciate whoever was playing when they recorded that footage, driving the Skyline GTR. I fucking love the Skyline GTR.
Also,
I appreciated that.
It also makes me sad watching people play racing games that are good, and it made me feel even worse about how awful I fucking am at racing games.
I also appreciated how they had the driving line on that tells you where you're supposed to be, and they completely fucking ignored it the entire time.
Like, I was the person in Arkham Knight that, like, killed more people than the villains did because I was so terrible at fucking driving. Okay, Forza Motorsport 7, which will run at a native 4K resolution. Rock solid 60 FPS. Basically, it's Mr. Hamilton at Kotaku was saying it's basically like having Forza Horizon 3 at a higher frame rate on PC. It'll be out October 3rd on Xbox One and Windows PC. Holiday 2017 on Xbox One X. How the fuck do they not even have that as a launch?
I don't know.
That's like one of their main selling points is the 4K thing. Forza is like built for that. Why is that not launching with the... I'm sorry.
Because you're talking logic in an industry that hasn't used logic in years.
Bringing logic to a fucking Microsoft fight. Bringing logic to a Don Matrick fight. I'm going to lose that fucking... Have you ever played Forza?
A long-ass time ago.
So you said you've always been more Gran Turismo?
Yeah, I fucking love Gran Turismo. I was playing it the other day, actually.
Which one? Like 4?
Gran Turismo... Is it 5 that had Prologue and then...
The last one I played was on the PS2. I couldn't tell you at all.
I want to say whatever the most recent one is. I want to say 6 is the one we're waiting on, and 5 was the most recent. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know at all. It's been like when it would have been like 15. I feel old now. It's been like 15 years since I played Gran Turismo. You ever look back on like the PS2 was like 15, 20 years ago now almost.
I try not to think about it.
Yeah, it makes me sad.
I've been considering busting out my PS2, honestly.
What were you
I've been hungering for Gran Turismo 3 and Armored Core.
Getting that FromSoft action.
Fucking Armored Core 2, dude. My favorite Armored Core game. One of my favorite mech games.
It's so funny. Like, you were playing FromSoft games for like a long ass time, and they were some of your favorites. And I only discovered them through Dark Souls. So you'd actually been playing FromSoft way longer than I had.
You need to go look at my Armored Core collection. I've got all of them except for 2 of the PlayStation 1 games. I only had the original. Up to Armored Core 4 is where I stopped. I had it on 360, but God, I sucked at that game. Because that's when they changed to all your left weapons on the shoulder and then your right weapons on the right shoulder.
Are you saying a FromSoft game was difficult?
Oh, dude.
I call bullshit on that statement.
Armored Core 4 was my introduction to Dark Souls, I think. I got my ass kicked.
Next up, Metro Exodus. It's a sequel to Metro Last Light, which I want to say, if it wasn't a launch title for PS4 and Xbox One, it was like one of the really early ones, I want to say. It will be released in 2018 for all the major platforms, including PC. What did you think of the gameplay trailer for Metro Exodus? This is the one where it's kind of...
That guy didn't stand a chance against a mutant bear.
Oh, the dude fucked that mutant bear. That was kind of terrifying. It's kind of like...
I've never heard of either of these games. I was just kind of like, what is this? And why do I have a crossbow?
I would not be in fucking Zombie Bear Land. I would not have a crossbow. I would have like a Gatling gun and grenades. And actually, I wouldn't be there at all. Why would you ever go near Zombie Bear Land?
I wouldn't survive the apocalypse. I wouldn't make it that far. I'd just be dead.
I wouldn't survive. I think I would probably like the concept of not having like fast food anymore. Like the end of Taco Bell would be like the end of Geoff. Like I couldn't handle. It's kind of like post-apocalyptic. It's kind of hard to explain actually, Metro Exodus, because it's like it is post-apocalyptic. It's more of like it's actually like Fallout. If Fallout actually had good graphics and was a good game, I could say that about it. Which I just lost the rest of our audience. All three of them. I don't know. It looked pretty cool. I liked how cinematic they used their first person.
Yeah.
Like there's the point where he's like fighting the zombie bear and he's like on the side of the cliff and he stops on the edge to look down the cliff.
And the rocks fall over. You know what I was thinking the entire time he was fighting that bear with that crossbow though? You know why I don't like crossbows? They take way too long to reload.
Now I'm sad. I love that character. Check out Retrospective Season 2. Is that what fucking... I don't know. Go back to the beginning. You'll find it eventually, what we're talking about. Yeah.
Watch all of our shit. You'll find it eventually. All of our shit.
Give us the hits and you'll
Shameless
find
plug.
A shameless bunch of plugs. All right. Yeah, Metro Exodus is one of those things where it's... You ever like watch those E3 trailers where you're like, technically this game looks cool, but you're just like, eh.
Yeah.
It wasn't...
looks cool. I'll watch someone else play it.
It wasn't bad, but it was one of those things to where like they didn't really show you... Zombie Bear was cool, but they didn't show me anything... Like it wasn't unique enough to grab my attention.
Yeah. I'll just go back and play The Last of Us and save my money.
Yeah, it's kind of part of the problem. Assassin's Creed Origins.
I did not get to watch the gameplay trailer, but I did watch the announcement trailer.
You know, well, the gameplay. If you fucking played Assassin's Creed, you know what their gameplay is. It's still the goddamn same thing. Assassin's Creed will now be set in ancient Egypt. It will launch on Xbox One, PS4, and PC October 17th. Ron, you are the resident Assassin's Creed fan. What did you think of the announcement trailer?
I think Egypt is a fantastic setting. They always go for very scenic type settings and very historically prevalent settings. Egypt is both of those. Plus, I like the difficulty of rendering the graphics, because did you see the sand in the actual like gameplay footage stuff? The sand looked and felt like real sand when you were watching it.
I like the Egypt setting as well. That the moment where the assassin's sliding down the pyramid was pretty fucking cool.
That was pretty metal. I liked all of that. Story-wise, I have a problem with us actually seeing the origin of the assassins. I think that should be something that's just like shrouded in myth in all the games.
To make that, yeah, like the less you know, the better type of thing.
Exactly. It seemed like there was a giant-ass snake monster. That's new.
I think that's going to end up being some type of like hallucinogenic dream or something. I don't think I don't think they're going to like all of a sudden like, oh yeah, there's like Resident Evil giant ass monsters and shit.
If there's monsters, I want my blue eyes white dragon or my red eyes black dragon.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it looked really cool. This is the first Assassin's Creed since Black Flag that has caught my eye at all. Just because one of the reasons I like Black Flag was they were trying new shit with the setting. You know, there was like pirate combat, and there were
some of that horse combat that you saw with like him horseback riding and just shooting bows and arrows left and right. That shit was intense.
Yeah. I think it looks really cool. It's now you are behind a few Assassin's Creed because who could blame you when there's like 35 each year? That's also one of the things this game has going for it. They finally took a year off to give them time to kind of recharge creatively, give the fans like a chance.
And that's
to
why
breathe.
That's the biggest reason why I'm more interested in this one than I have been any of the others lately.
Yeah, this is the one I've been most. When was Black Flag?
That's the last one I have, but I don't remember exactly.
Like 3 or 4 years ago, that was the last time any of these games really caught my eye because they were so like.
Well,
Syndicate is a cool. It was like the Victorian one, right? Kind of.
It was the Bloodborne Assassin's Creed,
right? Like that's a cool setting, but it wasn't different enough compared to the way that the combat would be implemented.
I like that the protagonists were brother sister though, and you could choose between them. That was cool.
Yeah.
What was the? I'm having a hard time with the name. What was the big one that was fucked up really bad? Unity. Yes. Unity caught our eye, but for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, Unity. I almost want to like let's play an original OG unupdated version of Unity just to have fun with all the bugs. I think it would actually be more fun seeing how crazy fucking ways it's actually broken.
You know what sucks about Unity more than anything? They wasted a perfectly good setting. It was the French Revolution.
Yeah, and their trailer was money.
The trailer was money, and the game cost way too much for what it was.
Yeah, no kidding. So good on you, Assassin's Creed. Imagine that taking a year off and not fucking turning him out like Call of Duty style actually made it look and appear like a better game. All right, next
up. What they should do before we move on? If they want one every year, they could do you know how Call of Duty does have different studios that churn them out?
I think Assassin's Creed actually does do that. They just don't have as many. They just don't have as many teams because if you notice, like, it's Ubisoft, right?
Yeah.
Or Ubi. How do you fucking pronounce it? Ubi or Ubi?
I always say Ubi.
I get it mixed up.
Or Ubi. I always say Ubisoft.
Okay, whatever it is. Because like you'll hear them talk about they're like Ubisoft Montreal and bullshit like that. I do think they have a couple of different teams going. I don't think they have as many as Call of Duty, but I think regardless they should just for the fan, like, yeah, even if they had enough teams to be able to churn them out that much, like you get gamer fatigue.
Burnout.
Because like I was alluding to earlier, when there's a new Gran Turismo game or a new Grand Theft Auto game or a new Red Dead game, like Red Dead Redemption came out in like 2010 or something like that.
Yeah.
And when you have an 8-year gap between games, people lose their mind because it's actually an event. It's not like, well, fuck it, it's Assassin's Creed. You even love those games and you're like 5 behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I think they made a smart decision. Now, whether they learn from that, because if I'm assuming Origins is going to be really successful, and I could totally see them being fucking Ubisoft again and just like, well, we'll go back to our yearly outlet again.
What they need to do is they haven't really focused on trying to build a particular character since Ezio.
That is my huge sticking point because I haven't gotten to play Assassin's Creed 2, the Ezio saga or whatever you want to call it, but that's like the only portion of their games that interests me at all because I'm a story and character guy. They actually had a fucking cool character.
They had a cool story and a cool character.
They've all been avatars since then. They've all been kind of like, characterless, just blank, just nothing to grab onto.
Just knife someone in the face is all and Revelations tied Ezio and Altair together really well too, and it kind of makes me sad because I was hoping from that point on, I'm not hoping for more Ezio. That chapter's closed. I don't want more Ezio. You're going to screw it up. But
just something.
Try to develop someone. I'm not even asking for someone like Ezio. Just come up with a really neat character and keep him going for 1 or 2 games.
I think
I'm not asking for 3 or 4.
I think it was either in between Assassin's Creed, Brotherhood. Which was the last Ezio? Was it Revelations or Brotherhood?
Revelations.
I believe it was in between Revelations and Assassin's Creed 3 that they lost either their main writer or one of their main writers or directors. I think they lost like one of the main driving forces creatively for the company. I think that's a big sticking point to what happened with them.
Gotcha.
But next up, one game I'm super interested in checking out. I might be able to actually play once I get a new correctly working goddamn laptop computer this week. So fingers crossed on that. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Now, this is actually one that I thought was smart for Xbox to get. Now, here's another thing that kind of bugs me about E3. Like 90% of Xbox's games, they were flashing, oh, this is an exclusive. Even if it's like a timed exclusive, it's not the same thing. They were pimping out their titles like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds will be a console launch exclusive. That is not the same thing as an exclusive. So you don't get to get all fucking high and mighty, like look at how awesome we are when it's a fucking timed exclusive. One now this game looks really, really cool, and I've been watching some Let's Plays for it. This is the one I was telling you about where it's kind of like Battle Royale. You have like 100 players and you win if you're the last person standing. It's a cool little clever concept. And they had the main developer for it out on stage basically saying that it is going to be console launch exclusive on Xbox One. It'll arrive in late 2017. It's right now in like alpha stage or beta right now on Steam, I want to say. We might actually be I'm going to be checking it out pretty soon. If I end up liking it, I think we might try to fit in like an episode or 2 on Nerdy Pathetic Casuals. So I think it would be kind of fun to kind of take care of.
I've got no problem doing that. But I've got I'm definitely not that interested. Like, I won't be buying it. I'll play it if you buy it and bring it over. But I'm not that interested in it, mainly because you're the last one standing out of 100. When I die, there'll be 99 other players left.
Yeah, it's true. But
the thing that surprised me the most, though, you mentioned Red Dead Redemption earlier. What I was thinking the entire time I was watching that trailer is I was like, I think this is the same graphics level as Red Dead Redemption. That kind of surprised me. I expected a little bit better of Xbox One.
Well, this is also like the game as it sits right now. It's like in alpha stages. It's not. It's like you can play it for free right now. Like you don't even have to pay for it to play it. It's one of those like they're still trying to turn it out. But I like the concept a lot. Like Daniel, one of my former editors, was talking about playing, and he said the most intense thing is when you are down to the final 2. because what I like about it is it's an online multiplayer game where there's actually like stakes behind it.
Yeah.
Because like if you're looking up, like if you get to the point to where you're down to like the top 5, it's fucking intense. It's not like, as much as I love like Battlefront or something like that, there's no stakes because there's a different round, there's another round.
Right.
And it's all about kill death as opposed to actually being smart and being the last man standing. I love all the concepts behind it. I think it's incredibly difficult too to actually come up with a fairly unique concept for multiplayer in 2017 when everything is basically the fucking same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think if I end up liking it, I think we will be checking it out. Did you watch the trailer though?
Yeah, I watched the trailer.
I love the ending of the trailer where the guy walks up and he's like scoped in on his sniper rifle and he's like beats him over the head with the shovel.
Yeah,
like, that makes me happy. That's also another game too where it's fun to watch because like people get really into it when you're down to like those last few people. I think you actually can play it cooperatively as well. Like if we were to each play, I think we actually could team up type of thing. You know, a little like a Hunger Games type of situation where you're teaming up until you get to the point where you can't be teamed up anymore.
Right.
So I think it's pretty fun. Next up is State of Decay 2. It's coming spring 2018. State of Decay, for those unfamiliar with it, it's basically like Last of Us, but a little bit more like RPG based. More kind of like your character loadouts and stuff like that. And kind of more like a little bit more resource managing.
Felt a little bit like a cross between like Left 4 Dead and I don't know. I there's an open world game that it's bringing to mind, but I'm
like Dead Island. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, kind of. It felt more like Left 4 Dead to me than Dead Island, but it was like a cross for me between Dead Island and something. I don't know, something open world. I wouldn't say Grand Theft Auto, but it was interesting. I've never played the first one, so
I didn't either. They just like the first one. This actually is an Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive. One of the cool things I found out recently, one of our favorite people, period, Mark Bernardin, is actually one of the writers for it. That intrigued me to actually be able to check it out.
That was interesting.
Anything Bernardin's attached to, it's always cool in my book. It's one of those things where if I had expendable income, that would be a game where it'd be kind of cool to have an Xbox One if I could get it for like $199 sitting around for every now and then. But you can't, if you're strapped for cash at all, you can't afford to drop $200 for a console to like play a game every like 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. And which is Windows 10 exclusive can go fuck itself.
I'm using Windows 10. I just want to claw my eyes out just looking at it.
There's no reason I can't run that on Windows 7.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Are you saying Microsoft had a bullshit business practice?
Pisses me
Sacrilege. All right, next up, Minecraft is going fully multi-platform. Mojang is a developing team. They said we'll have complete cross-play between tablets, VR, Windows 10 PCs, consoles, galore, basically everything. There will also be a 4K version. Why would you need 4K Minecraft? They are literally fucking blocks. I read that and I was like, this is really fucking cool. And you ruined it.
I don't understand. But unfortunately, it's Minecraft. But fortunately, Minecraft, for whatever reason, is really big, really popular. And if Minecraft can make it work and show that it works, we might get other games following suit.
Minecraft isn't for me, but this is awesome. More people need to follow suit because
get over 4K.
I was mostly being facetious, but
I know.
The cross-platform thing is really cool. I do wish people would actually try to branch out a little bit more.
Yes.
For that instead of just because it is totally possible, especially when so much shit.
There was something else that went cross-platform recently, but it wasn't that big. I don't remember what it was. I don't know. Within like the last 6 months to a year, it made like headlines if you dug deep enough.
It's also fucking genius of them to do that, especially because Minecraft every year to this day still makes the top 5 to 10 selling games every year because people buy it for like their phone and their tablet and their Xbox 360 and their Xbox One and their PS4 and like literally fucking people that are into Minecraft have Minecraft on everything. Like they even will figure out a way to get Minecraft working on their goddamn Zune. They are so obsessed with Minecraft. But yeah, good for them. They didn't have to do that. I think it's very cool, and I think that that's actually in an industry that recently, the last couple of years, has been really bad about setting bad precedents. That's a good precedent that people should take note of.
Honestly, depending on how their network infrastructure is set up, that's probably simpler for them.
Yeah, it's actually a good point.
All you need to give is just server access. You don't need to restrict by what's accessing it.
All right. This one's actually kind of near and dear to our hearts. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I hope that's what they call it because Dragon Ball Fighters is a little bit lame to me. So
I think it's probably Fighter Z.
We're gonna go with Fighter Z. It is the Dragon Ball Z based fighting game that is upcoming early 2018 for all the major platforms. Similar to the Guilty Gear franchise, Fighter Z will feature 3 versus 3 fights starring a myriad of characters from the franchise. The thing I love about it is they pulled a South Park and they just directly adapted the anime style, the animation.
Yeah, that's the thing I hate about it.
You don't like how it's just the... I like how it was the cartoon.
That and the 3-on-3 fights are like the two things I hate the most about it.
Why do you hate the animation style being adapted? Because that's one of the things I loved about South Park.
It drives me nuts when they try to take 2D to make it 3D. I don't know. There's just something about that just drives me absolutely nuts. And in the trailer that was linked in our show notes, the animation didn't even seem smooth on it when they were fighting or anything. Like Phil and I are big Budokai fans. You're not really going to beat Budokai 3's fighting modes and everything. But I'm one of the very few people that preferred Budokai 1's animation over all their other games so far.
I'm not a big fighting game fan. So for me, that was actually one of the biggest selling points for it was that it was actually adapting the animation style for it. But
yeah, it drives me insane.
I'm not a fighting game fan, so I probably wasn't going to end up playing it anyway. But
it ends up, you know the way you feel about like the comic book like cutscenes in video games. That's kind of the way I feel about that type of animation.
Motion comics.
Yeah,
I fucking hate motion comics.
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like that is, and it drives me nuts.
It's not my problem with motion comics is like why. Like this is that was with I get it more with them trying because obviously it's an anime and they're trying to like make it work both ways. I could see how that would be a turn off to certain people from a style standpoint. I liked it, but I can get where you're coming from on it. Next up, Black Desert is an MMO that is coming to Xbox One next year. It launched in 2016. I had heard about it. I think it's actually pretty notable as far as MMOs are concerned for it to even get an Xbox One launch. That's why I included it on here because MMOs are basically dead now.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason World of Warcraft is still going is because their numbers were so strong that by now they have lost like half their subscriber base and they're still fucking huge.
Yeah.
Everyone else that has tried it has failed. And like Star Wars, The Old Republic, their MMO... They were free to play within like 7 months. The Elder Scrolls one, which I could have fucking told them that wasn't going to work, and that was free to play within like 7 months or something like that. Yeah. Really quickly, do you think they can ever get MMOs to work again, or do you think that was just kind of like a gaming fad that has kind of run its course?
One MMO that everybody keeps suggesting that nobody ever makes, except there is a third-party unofficial like free to play one, but is a Pokemon MMO.
That would be
no one understands, and I don't either, why that hasn't happened yet. Because if you take like the handheld games the way they are now, imagine that in MMO style.
Yeah, I remember actually within the last couple of years, a company basically laid like the groundwork for how it would work. They basically made like a generic kind of off-brand style of Pokemon game using MMO engines, and it looked pretty cool. The reason it hasn't happened yet is because who owns Nintendo games? That is Nintendo, and Nintendo is fucking weird about everything. Like, they are so strange about what... They leave so much money on the table across, like, Metroid. How the fuck has there not been a Metroid game in, like, 10 years?
Yeah.
Like, a legit Metroid game. It's mind-boggling.
For some reason, Nintendo does not like money.
Yeah, it must be so nice to be so well off that you don't really like money.
Yeah, but like I said, there is actually, if you Google Pokemon MMO, there is actually one out there that someone made that you can sign up for and play like right now. You have to download an emulator and a ROM.
Is that the one that got like shut the fuck down, but it's still out there because you can't really shut down once something is online?
I believe so. But yeah, it's got like all the graphics and stuff of like the handheld ones.
All right, can you give me a time check, please?
59:34.
Jesus Christ, we've talked so much about too much of this stuff. We were like halfway through these notes. Okay, The Last Night. It is like the way I describe it is like 16-bit Blade Runner. Did you like the trailer?
Yeah, when I watched it, I had the perfect comparison because it was like 16-bit Blade Runner and
Fifth Element.
It wasn't Fifth Element, but I can see that. But yeah, it seems cool. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
I know, but I actually like it. I like not knowing what's happening. Like that's how you actually kind of...
I don't know if it's one I'm interested in enough to buy, but...
What it is, it's this one I'm totally going to be checking out on Let's Plays and then making my determining after that. But I think the backgrounds on it and the character work, like it looks fucking cool.
And it was kind of interesting having 3D models in 16-bit. So
yeah,
it was interesting.
Something else that's a little bit intriguing, at least to me, is Code Vein. This is the one that
I was just confused watching this trailer.
So Code Vein was the Bandai game where people were thinking it could be the next FromSoft title because their hashtag or tagline, whatever it was prepare to dine. So people were making that assumption because the prepare to die thing, it could be FromSoft, but it wasn't. It's coming to all the major platforms in 2018. This is basically Dark Souls if it was like super anime as fuck. That is the way I would explain it.
I was like, it's Dark Souls, but it's Persona, but it's Final Fantasy, but it's Nier. Like, I didn't know what was happening.
It's kind of cool in the fact
it kind of broke my brain a little bit, and I'm not sure if it was good or bad. I don't know what happened.
I was intrigued enough to be definitely checking out Let's Plays for it. I'm incredibly picky about JRPGs. Like if this leans more towards the Persona side of things as opposed to the Dark Souls side of things, I will not be playing it because I don't like hardcore JRPGs that are 90 hours long and are focused around like a super repetitive type of system. But I actually thought, like, just from the brief glimpses of combat you get on it, I actually liked the way their combat kind of looked. Like, it seemed that they got the trying to think of like the word for it, but like they kind of got the speed and tone of Dark Souls down a lot better than something like the Surge. Like when I watch the Surge, I feel like they have no idea how to get that Dark Souls type of speed and just kind of motion down.
It had the depth to the combat that Dark Souls has.
This looks more methodical, which is what Dark Souls is. The Surge is just trying to be difficult and they're kind of trying to have their cake and eat it too because they're trying to be their own thing while obviously copying someone else. This seemed a little bit more in the vein of Dark Souls. I didn't even mean to make the pun, but yeah, it's out there. Enjoy it, America. The next one was kind of mind-blowing to me. Had you heard of Cuphead until this?
No, I didn't actually watch this one.
Oh, you didn't watch this one?
No, I can already tell by the image you included. It's going to drive me insane.
It is a game that's coming out later this year. It's an Xbox and Windows 10 exclusive. It is inspired off of Max Fleischer's studio. It is all 1930s animation. I actually thought the art style on it was really cool because it's just so fucking bizarre. Like, who makes a 1930s video game? Like, it was so weird. It caught my eye. I actually really liked it.
It's so bizarre looking, and I appreciate them just going out on a limb, but it's going to drive me out the wall even just watching the trailer, I can tell you right now.
See,
looking at this image drives me crazy.
I don't understand how you are so picky about animation and then you like motion comics. Because motion comics are like the single laziest form of animation you can possibly do. It is.
I don't completely agree with that.
It is a still image when they're doing this, Ron. Shit. slightly sways, and that's
I don't know what motion comics you saw, but like Watchmen, which I bought on iTunes, is nothing like what you described.
But it's just, why? If you're gonna fucking bother, make it a fucking animated feature. Why are we fucking having swaying images for no reason instead of just making it an animated thing? I don't know. I think the whole maybe it's my comic background that it kind of like unnerves me, but I just think it's dumb. I'll either read the fucking comic or I'll watch the animated movie. I don't need to have both at the same time. It's just one of those things that it doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, I agree. I like how weird Cuphead is from a design standpoint. Whether it's actually a good game, I don't know, but I appreciate them going outside of the box. Another Souls-like is Ashen. Did you watch the trailer for this one?
I did, and I don't think I liked it.
It was
It was bizarre.
very weird. And it wasn't weird in a good way. It was weird in a like, why would I really like, you're not selling me anything right now.
Well, one thing about it is everything just seems, I don't know if it's the animation style, I don't know what it is. Everything just seems so bland. You know, like which oddly is what they were going for.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think
they achieved what they were wanting to achieve, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what it looked to me? It looked unfinished.
Yes.
Like it shouldn't have been shown.
Yeah.
But it clearly is finished in their eyes, or they wouldn't have had a full-length fucking trailer at E3. So I don't know. Here, quick aside, I love Dark Souls. Gaming industries, quit trying to just rip off Dark Souls and think it's going to work out okay. Because all you're really doing is setting yourself up for failure.
All you're doing is making Dark Souls look that much better.
All you're making me want to do is play Dark Souls 1 or Bloodborne again. You're not making me want to play your game. You're actually getting to the point where you're fucking... The one that kind of broke... The straw that broke the camel's back for me was the Surge.
Mm-hmm.
The Surge has like the DNA of a good game in there, but they were so fixated on being a Dark Souls-like, I think they totally screwed themselves over the whole...
It's a shame because they had a really cool concept of, I want that weapon, let's cut that dude's arm off and take his weapon.
Yeah. It's gaming industry. Stop it. Fucking... So I can't get a FromSoft Souls game, but goddamn it, I can get Souls games from every fucking other company out there.
What's wrong is you can get Souls-like games from every other company out there, not Souls games.
Souls blah games.
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne. Life is Strange Before the Storm. Have you heard of Life is Strange? That it was like a fairly popular episodic.
I have heard of Life is Strange a lot lately. Like, I've never heard of it before, but like in the past month or so, that's all I hear about.
I think part of the reason was because it was the PS Plus game for free. That kind of like, and this sequel was it actually is a prequel. This was kind of, if it wasn't leaked, it was kind of like assumed it would be coming out. So people, like, buzz was amped up for it. It's coming out on August 31st. I believe they are. Yeah, it's a 3-part prequel, so they're continuing the episodic format. It was super, super CW melodramatic to the point to where I'm not really... It was a weird combination of like CW melodrama, like the chick has like time control, fucking reality bending powers at the same time. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in this game, because it's like trying to be this like Doctor Who episode while simultaneously trying to be like fucking the OC. And I don't know. Apparently it's good because people are like you were saying, like people that love it fucking love it.
I've heard about.
Love it. I don't know. I can't say anything. I've only seen it on Let's Plays. I haven't actually played it. Do you have any interest in Sea of Thieves?
Not really.
This is like the cartoony pirate co-op game that everyone seems to be super excited about.
It looks like it's trying to be like One Piece the game, but without anything you love about One Piece.
It's weird. Like, I kind of like the idea of Sea of Thieves, but at the same time, like, I think
just play Black Flag.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get the appeal. It's from Rare. They looks like they all because they actually had shown that last year. It's supposed to be releasing early 2018, but God knows with the gaming industry. But anytime I've said a release date, just fucking ignore me. They don't mean shit. The next trailer, Crackdown 3, introduced by none other than Terry Crews. Now, if you want to sell me on your product, no matter what it is, just have Terry Crews being Terry Crews, and I'm immediately like 100% more.
Terry Crews needs to be the new pitch man for everything.
Is this I have never played Crackdown. I don't have anything against Crackdown, but I made sure I watched the trailer just because Terry Crews was in the trailer.
I've never played it, and I still have no intention to ever play it, but I sat there and watched their goddamn trailer because Terry Crews told me to.
I love me some Terry Crews.
You still need to see Cloudy the Chance of Meatballs, dude.
I do. It makes me sad. I love every single person.
He even cosplayed as his character in real life.
Oh, that's amazing. I love every person who was involved with that movie. I've just yet to see it. The game will feature up to 4-player co-op. It will be released on November 7th alongside the Xbox One X. Hey, the Xbox One X actually has a game.
What?
Golf clap. Hooray.
That happened?
One game I will be checking out that Ron will not is Middle-earth: Shadow of War. They had a demo basically showing off a little bit more of the way that you'll be able to control and set up your army and everything. I know most of it is procedurally generated as far as your enemies and your orcs, but I kind of want the one in the demo because he seemed kind of amazing and like the real big stupid guy. I want the big stupid guy in my orc army. Why is everyone copying fucking Dark Souls and not the Nemesis system? Like,
I don't know. The Nemesis system is intriguing.
It's fucking genius, and no one else is using it.
Another podcast that I used to listen to that you do always, before the Mad Max game came out, was hoping they had ripped off the Nemesis system in Mad Max.
It also works perfectly for comic book movies because you could have like thugs in like you could have like the Joker's thugs in a Batman game rank up and shit like that. It could be really cool.
Yes. Did you imagine how much you'd rank up if you took down Batman?
Yeah, and no one fucking does it.
Nope.
What the fuck, gaming industry? What the fuck? All right. Now we're gonna be talking about Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Had you ever heard of Ori and the Blind Forest?
Nope.
It was like a Metroidvania. Looks like, since this one's exclusive to Xbox One and Windows 10, I think Ori and the Blind Forest might have also. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I'm guessing. It's basically, like we had said, it's Metroidvania. It's a side scroller. The big selling point behind it is how gorgeous their art design is. I actually really like the settings and everything. It looks very... It's like dark but colorful at the same time. There's a lot of like cool lighting going on. Did you like the trailer at all?
I didn't know what was happening. I watched it, but
it's purely.
It looked to me like it was trying to be like a Miyazaki movie.
Yeah, I could see that too. It's more gameplay oriented than you think. I think it's just. There's no release date. I think it's just so early on in the process. They made this to appeal to their really niche fan base because it's just imagery from people that know the franchise will know what they're seeing when you and I don't.
Right.
So I do like their art style though. I think it's very pretty. And the last thing Xbox had at their conference was Anthem, which I am on record is what Destiny wants to be when it grows up, because Anthem's pretty fucking cool. Like
I'm cautiously optimistic about it because that gameplay demo that they gave looked really cool, but also if you really pay attention to it, it was mostly just flying around looking for something to do at the same time.
Yeah,
I am cautiously optimistic and hoping it's not another fucking No Man's Sky. Yeah, I don't want No Man's Anthem.
No Man's Anthem. The flying, the full Iron Man flying is amazing. At least if it's just flying around looking for shit to do, at least you can have fun flying because it looks fucking badass. And then if you want to sell Geoff, that's that single moment when he locks on to like 15 dudes.
Oh, I know.
And the shoulder turrets go Iron Man style, and they like they home in on it. Oh, I love shit like that.
I like the big guy's mortar when he just took out everyone in a single shot.
Yeah, it's they have customized. It's you know what it is. It is half Destiny and half what's the free to play mech game that we had checked out.
Hawken.
You know what? Hawken? Yeah, it is like 50% Hawken, 50% Destiny. Which, if it works, is fucking great. But BioWare hasn't exactly been on a hot streak as of late, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But there is reason to be cautiously optimistic. At least it looked like there's something that could be there.
It looks really cool, and I'll definitely be keeping my eye on it.
Oh yeah, if it looks to be
if it's half as good as some of the stuff we saw, it's worth checking out.
Definitely. Okay, that's all for the Xbox conference. We're going to run through Bethesda really quick. Skyrim on Switch will include a Link outfit and amiibo support. Huzzah!
Yay! That was much rejoicing.
Much rejoicing. We are getting 2 VR games from Bethesda, which will be Fallout 4. Huzzah! Yay!
That was much rejoicing.
Now, this is cool, though, while also terrifying. Doom is getting VR, and I just vomited just saying that sentence. Can you It is hard to watch Doom and play Doom on a fucking flat television screen where it's not surrounding your goddamn face. Like, I'm getting indigestion just thinking about it.
That's a world I don't want to be inserted into. I'm sorry. I do not want to be inserted into Doom.
Doom almost wins E3 because of the name Doom VFR. Doom Virtual fucking Reality. That's awesome, and I love them for it. Wolfenstein's main character, BJ Blazkowicz, is coming to Quake Champions, their other FPS online centric game. They're also having a $1 million Quake World Championship tournament in Austin or in Dallas, August 26th at QuakeCon. Ron, we got 2 months to get good, noob. Let's go win us $1 million.
I didn't even know anyone still had anything to do with Quake.
No, it's the remember the new game that came out, the Champions one. It did come out within the last. You remember we talked about the trailer last year.
That was a whole year ago. I didn't get to rewatch our footage.
You totally forgot about the Quake game. Yeah, it came out like
the Quake game.
It came out within the last month or so, but it was purely online only. So
that's probably why it fell off my radar.
Yeah. Their announcement trailer last year was cool. Bethesda is introducing the Creation Club. It'll allow Bethesda and various outside developers to create mods and other content for Bethesda games. You'll be able to spend credits to download new content, and it's a safe bet that those credits will cost money. It's basically another crack at paid mods after the first attempt failed. What I have to say, fuck you, Bethesda.
I was going to say, go fuck yourself.
Fuck you very much. Moving on. One of the cooler teaser trailers to me, did you get to watch the Dishonored one?
I did not watch this one.
You're killing me. This is like one of the coolest teasers of the conference. This is a standalone Dishonored title, kind of like how they had the Old Blood with Wolfenstein. It was kind of like a smaller game that stood on its own where you could actually, I believe, buy it totally separately. This comes out September 15, 2017. Ron, you're busting my balls because I want to talk about it, and you didn't fucking watch it, even though I gave you the link. You're kind of killing me. Yeah. The cinematography on it, better than all of Season 1 of Iron Fist.
Really?
And it's like a minute-long fucking teaser, and it's more creative. Yeah. Did you watch the Evil Within 2 trailer?
No, I did not.
Did you even get the notes?
I watched Wolfenstein.
You have a link. You have a link for a reason to click it, Ron. We can talk about the shit. Evil Within 2, the first one looked really cool in trailers, but the final product didn't appeal to me too much watching it in Let's Plays. The trailer, again, for the second one looks pretty fucking great. I like how it's releasing on Friday the 13th, this October. It is like half Resident Evil and half Silent Hill. It is.
There's a difference in those games?
Well, the thing is with like how it's like Resident Evil is it's the more kind of craziness with Resident Evil as far as like the crazy monster design, but tonally it's closer to the creepiness of Silent Hill. Like they lean more towards the horror side of it than action, but there's also like those weird, crazy elements that are, like Resident Evil. It's more known for its kind of like ridiculous giant monsters and stuff like that. There's a little bit more of that going on, which you would know if you would watch my fucking links. Okay,
there's only 2 I didn't watch, and that would be the 2.
Yeah, I hate you so much right now. But you at least watched Wolfenstein, so you were redeemed a little bit. Did you watch? Now, this was the full one where they started out with the fake commercials for like 1950s Nazi-controlled America. Which, as soon as I saw that, I love advertising like that. They didn't do that at all, but they fucking did it, and it's all really.
The most disturbing thing to me was the monkey with the cat head. Can you imagine a cat as evil as they are with opposable thumbs?
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying.
Could you imagine the havoc they could wreak? That's your villain in the game. That's the main villain, I guarantee you. The fucking cat with opposable thumbs.
Yeah, I think you called it. This is the sequel to Wolfenstein: The New Order, which I would actually like to do for a Let's Play sequential at some point, since you haven't played it. It's a pretty damn good game.
I've never played a Wolfenstein game.
That was the first one I had played just because of how acclaimed it was, and it was pretty fucking great. I'm a sucker for alternate history. I love especially having to do with like what if the Nazis had won World War II. This one
and there's nothing wrong with shooting Nazis.
Hey, right. The year is 1961. The scene where you are in like the diner when the Nazi dude comes in, I like moments like that where he's basically.
I like how the mom just like rips her kid out of the diner.
Yeah. What's kind of cool is that he kind of works behind enemy lines because like they make the point of how he is blue-eyed, blonde-haired, so they actually use him to infiltrate the fucking Nazis because he looks Aryan. It's actually like a plot perspective of the way he looks. So yeah, there's like the story of Doom. I loved some of the gameplay mechanics, but the story was so barely there that it bothered me. You really had no reason to continue going on because they didn't really give you very much reason for why
you didn't go on.
Exactly. There wasn't like they gave you like it was real fun to blow shit up, but you had no reason to continue blowing shit up.
One thing I have wanted to do though is just go back on the multiplayer.
We totally
record some footage. The multiplayer was really good.
Wolfenstein is that company's like flair for really good gameplay and gunplay with a really compelling story, and it's actually the driving force of the game. It is an actual narrative, that it works more on that side of things than just like a fuck it, let's just blow everything up type of game, which is why I like it so much. Is it is so story based. That once the trailer kicks into high gear and you see the action too, like Wolfenstein is metal as fuck. Like that the ending point where he axes the guy, I'm like, give me the game now because it's really fucking cool. Who doesn't want to axe a Nazi to Kingdom Come? I mean, come on.
I just liked when he's trying to convince him that he's not a Nazi, and he was like, fuck it, and the shield goes back up.
So awesome. So did it look appealing to you even though you hadn't played the first game?
It looked cool. I mean, like I said, I had no idea what's going on. I've never been introduced into the world of Wolfenstein before, but
I think you'll like the first game once we get around to playing it at some point. That's it for EA, Xbox, and Bethesda. Sony, just kind of like a tease, the next VOD we do is going to be what is it? We might have a couple things to talk about from the PC show, which is a thing now. They've introduced over the last couple of years.
The Master Race.
Sony, obviously. The other one I was reading about, Ubisoft also was today. And we'll have Nintendo, which Nintendo, God knows how much or how little we'll have to talk about. I think last year we had like 2 things literally to talk about. It was like Zelda and Pokemon. Because again, Nintendo don't like money.
Nintendo doesn't like money. They don't really like money do much.
But overall, E3 kind of a letdown. Like, there are things that were good. Like, when it hit hard, but a lot of I don't know.
I remember last year, you and I were just kind of losing our minds over quite a bit of things.
A bunch. Yeah. Like, it was, like, fast and loose with really cool stuff.
I remember Bethesda, in particular, was just killing it left and right last year.
Yeah, Bethesda had a really good one. Sony's was good, but
nothing for Kojima this year.
He had actually announced last week Death Stranding would not be present. So yeah, you can check us out. By now, everyone knows that Spider-Man was at the Sony conference, so Ron and I are going to be gushing about how fucking amazing
that's going to be like half of the next episode.
Absolutely. So yeah, please check back in to get the rest of our recap for E3. Please check us out more by liking and subscribing. That gets you all of our commentaries. We are actually recording Let's Plays this week, finally.
Yes, we're getting... I plan to get back... we're getting back on the ball and everything. All our shows are going to be back up and running.
Sweet. So. You're welcome, Bobby. Lucky we love you.
Did we lose Reese? Is it just down to Bobby?
Oh, we lost Reese a long time ago.
We lost Reese a long time ago.
No, Reese said he liked the show, but he is so far behind on everything, especially Marvel-wise, that he was getting spoiled by listening to our show. So I'm like, that's fair enough. I can understand not listening to us when you're getting spoiled on shit, because it is incredibly difficult to keep up on everything.
It is. And with everything being on demand, you don't know who's watching what when. Yeah,
definitely. Please share us out so we can grow our little... What's X-Force? I almost forgot our name. We need to bring that back more. Because I almost forgot.
Grow the X-Force?
I almost forgot what our fucking fans were called. Or fan, open parenthesis, S, close parenthesis. I am Geoff.
I'm Ron.
We will see you guys for the second part of E3.